All right, so welcome everyone. Say it one more time, because all the guys are listening on SoundCloud as well. So today we have a question from a good friend from Germany, from Theo. And it's about transforming emotional habits, actually. So that's the kind of headline. We don't go too much into the detail of the question, but it's about transforming emotional habits. So basic problem is that we all have these kind of emotional habits that happen when we are unconscious, when we don't know ourselves. They just run. Basically, it's much like a movie. If you're watching a movie and you don't know that you are watching it, basically you don't know that there is a watcher of the movie, then there is just the movie. And if the movie is very happy, then you feel very happy. If the movie is very sad, then you feel very sad. You notice? If your emotions are in a certain way conditioned, let's say you see something happening in front of you and you like it, you feel really happy about it. You see a beautiful flower or something like that, you like it. So there is a happy emotion arising. It's conditioned by seeing the flower and conditioned by past memories of flowers. We're associating a flower with something nice. So when you see a flower, you feel happy, you feel good. Now that emotion arises in your being. But instead of knowing that an emotion arises in your being, we get lost in the emotion. We forget that there is a watcher, there is something that is able to observe, to see the emotion arise and pass. And so we get caught up in things, we get caught up in thoughts, we get caught up in emotions, we get caught up in external circumstances. Are continuously seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, feeling things and getting caught up in this content of life. Emotions being one type of content, or one type of experience, possible experience. And so if an emotion is experienced a lot and often, then it forms a habit. You're kind of mastering the emotion, you can say. In a way, mastering an emotion means that if someone is talking about your hot topic and you get immediately upset, you've mastered a certain emotion. You don't have to learn how to feel about something anymore. You automatically feel it. Let's say if you're a smoker, then each time you watch a movie, for example, when I was smoking, so when I was younger I was smoking, then when I was watching a movie, each time I was watching the movie, I felt the need to smoke. That happened automatically. I didn't know that this was happening to me. And similarly, if you see something that you don't like, you get upset, you get angry. There's nobody having to teach you to get angry. You just get angry. And you can see that from your own experience. Sometimes you watch social media and you see a certain comment, you see a certain picture posted, and immediately there's a certain emotional response to that. And there are these certain patterns in our emotions, habit patterns. So basically our being is searching for certain emotions, and it does so because there is no mindfulness. We don't know ourselves. So this kind of automatic processes can just run in the background. Like for example, you might search trouble, but you don't know that you're searching trouble. That always happens automatically to you. You kind of have this talent to maneuver yourself into painful situations. And once you're there in that painful situation, you have your usual type of emotional reaction to that situation. And if you observe your own life, if you observe yourself, if you look at yourself, you will notice that constantly things are repeating. It's the same thing. If you look at your mind, you're thinking about the same things all the time. Day in, day out, it's the same topics. Maybe not exactly the same things, but the same topics. Of course, it changes with your age. For now, you might not be particularly worried about your job, the office, right? You're not worried about that. You have different types of thoughts, right?
Yeah.
You think different things. What do you think about all the time?
School.
School, yes. And is it good thinking, or does it make you more sad or stressed?
Usually good, but sometimes stressed.
Yes. What makes you think good about school?
Because I'm learning stuff and my friends.
Yes. What makes you feel sad or stressed?
If I do bad.
If you do bad, yes. So that kind of thinking, it doesn't change much when you get older. It's just the locations they change and the people they change. But still you will look forward to see your friends, and it's just kind of different topics and probably a little bit more complicated words that you use. But same basic emotions. You still may be scared of exams, you're scared of being judged, how you are received by other people. Do they like me, do they like me not? Many times also in school you learn that by how you perform what you do in school, if you have good grades or bad grades, it means that you are good or you are bad. Is that true? What do you think? If you have bad grades, are you a bad person? Are you a bad human being? If you have good grades, are you a good human being? Contemplate this. Think about that. This is really important. Most of the time we look at someone and we judge them by a single action, by the way they behave, what they just said, and we judge the entire person based on that action. He's a criminal. We put them into special suits and put them into a caged little box and lock them. We say that entire person is a criminal. We forget that this person also is a father. We forget that this person also has the ability to love, to be kind. No, that whole person is a criminal. Similarly, we start early in school. It's not a bad grade, it's a bad you. So if we can separate the action from the person, that's already a good step. If we can separate the emotion from who you are, that's the next step. If you can notice, you have learned your emotions. You have learned how to feel in your life, if you want to admit that or not. But you can notice from what you see in the TV, what you see online. Nowadays not so much TV anymore, but what you see online, it is shaping how you feel and how you think. Is it true or not? Depending on what you watch, you will think like that. You'll think correspondingly. And you will feel correspondingly. If you watch a lot of hateful content, you are filled with hate slowly. And eventually you become, your character turns into a predominantly hateful character. It's because of the people you surround yourself with, the things you read, the things you watch. It shapes. So who you are right now, or what you predominantly hold in your emotional setup, it is all learned. That's the good news. It is not who you are. Your emotions basically say nothing about who you are. Your thoughts say nothing about who you are. They say everything about who you're surrounded by and what kind of media you consume, yes. But they say nothing about who you really are. It's a fundamental question when you meditate. Who am I? You want to know who you really are. I know some people meditate a little bit and then they see that there is a lot of distraction. Then they say, oh, I now know who I am. I'm a very distracted person. But also that is not really true. There is distraction, yes. It has its causes. It comes from the way we behave in our life, what we do day in, day out. But it is not in your nature. So really knowing yourself, really knowing who you are requires you to look inside. That is difficult for most people because our eyes go this way. They go around you, right? We're looking this way. Your ears are hearing this way. Your nose is smelling all the stuff that's around you. You're tasting not your own tongue. Your tongue is tasting food that comes from outside. And your body is feeling not so much itself, it feels things that come in touch with it. Like the chair you're sitting on right now. So it is rather a difficult process to look within. If I say just look on the inside, look at yourself, we can only ever look at stuff. Emotions, thoughts, feelings, the play of your character. It's all stuff. It's all content. But like when you're watching a movie, you forget the one who watches. And in meditation, it is about becoming aware that there is something that watches. You can have any thought, any emotion right now. You can feel in any way. Maybe you're bored, maybe you're excited, whatever. But you can see your emotion. Seeing not with your eyes, not as a color or a shape, but you can become aware of your emotion, conscious of it. You can know your emotion. And as you know your emotion, you can step out of it. And that's the way a habit pattern or an emotional pattern slowly loses its power, because you're not identified with it. That's the key. If you want emotional patterns to come to an end, harmful emotional patterns, well, the first thing is restrain yourself, become aware of your behavior, notice what is going on repetitively, bring mindfulness into the game, and then slowly learn to disidentify from what is going on. See it as just a learned pattern that keeps reoccurring. There are certain buttons you can push and the habit pattern runs. Like the smoker and the TV, or the neighbor and my anger. I look at the neighbor and I get angry, like that. If I know that, the next time I see the neighbor, there will be mindfulness instead of anger. I'll notice, there's the neighbor, and I will see the neighbor, and I will hear the neighbor, and anger will arise. I'm prepared. This is a great advantage already. So once you're prepared, you can then stay in an observing position, like you're watching your own mind like a movie. And so you go nowhere with your mind. But if you don't know it, you become the anger, you become angry. And you go to your neighbor and you get into an argument with your neighbor because you don't know yourself. And so the anger is perpetuated, it keeps running, the show keeps running, it keeps refueling itself all the time. And that's precisely what your anger wants. It wants food. And it is looking for food every now and then. Now it depends, do you give it food? Do you identify with it? What does that mean, identifying with it? Now think of a car. What's your favorite car?
A Ferrari.
Ferrari, all right. So you have your Ferrari, okay? Color?
Yellow.
Yellow. A yellow Ferrari. Very good. Okay, so since yellow is the color of which emotion?
Happy.
Happiness. Okay. Happiness. So let's say that Ferrari comes in front of you. Then you have two ways. You can identify with the happiness, or you can simply notice that there is happiness. Okay? This is two ways. What means identifying with the happiness? You get into the Ferrari and you're looking out through its window at the street, and you have many options. You could go left, you can go right. Whereas happiness is a relatively nice car to sit in. Not identifying with it means it can still be there, but you're not driving it. So where will the Ferrari go if you're not driving it? It goes nowhere. If there is no driver, it goes nowhere, right? So of course the same is true, and maybe more easy to understand, maybe a better start to go first is with negative emotions, with things that are painful, that are hurtful. You don't have to get into the car. If your anger is like a stinky shirt, each time you're putting it on, your friends want to get away from you because your shirt is stinky. Who wants to spend time with angry people? Are you enjoying it? Who wants to spend time with unhappy people? Do you enjoy that? Who wants to spend time with people who continuously complain? Is that nice to spend time with someone like that? It must be even more unbearable for the one who is continuously complaining. Well, everything sucks. That sucks, this sucks, that too, and the weather sucks, everything sucks. It doesn't help, first of all. It doesn't make things better, it makes them worse. For yourself, of course, but for everyone else around you too. But if you spend time with happy and positive people, then sure, it's more pleasant. And similarly with your own emotions, if you notice that a certain habit comes up and you can catch it before you get into it, like before you get into the car, that is what I would call strength and power. You are a powerful person if you can do that. You're not the slave of your emotions. Your emotions can come and go, but they cannot control you. Your thoughts can come and go, but they cannot control you. And in a way, even you can make use of your thoughts. You can use them wisely for the benefit of yourself and others, but thoughts are not using you. That's a big difference, isn't it? Similarly with emotions, you can use them to heal yourself and others, but you are not used by them. That's a very good first step, to learn that. And that depends on being mindful, on knowing yourself. Like, oh, well, that's what's going on within me right now. Can you catch it? Like when you have a virus, when you get sick and you have a virus, what do? You cover your mouth, right? You're not letting the virus spread. We all have seen these zombie movies or something like that where the virus is spreading fast and everyone gets infected fast. Just goes around. On the island here in Phuket too. It's not zombies, but if there is a flu, then Everyone gets it rather fast. And nowadays we don't need to worry about zombies anyways, there are smartphones. It's kind of the same effect. Everyone programmed, controlled. It's horrible. If you walk around as the only one without a smartphone, it's ridiculous, you know. You go into a shopping mall here or something, this is like everyone is remotely controlled. You see mothers with their children sit on the table with a big an iPad or something like that, you know, and the children just running around, just destroying Christmas decorations. The mother doesn't even know. It's totally lost in her iPad. And so knowing yourself in such an environment is very difficult. Having power in your mind, very difficult. These times are very difficult for people to have wisdom, power in their mind, because we're continuously distracted. And then we wonder why? Why is there ADHD? What's your attention span when you're looking on Facebook? How long do you spend with one picture, one video? How long, usually? Less than seconds. It's just one after the other, isn't it? Just scrolling through. Yesterday I catched myself. I found this beautiful piece, this piano piece of Schubert somewhere on Facebook, and I was like, wow, that's beautiful. The first few tunes were like, wow, this is amazing. And so I was looking at this piece, and I got goosebumps. I was like, wow. So I commented, goosebumps. I wrote this comment, wow, goosebumps, you know. And I gave it a heart, you know, like I really loved it. But as I commented, the piece was like a minute in. I scrolled down. I was still listening to it, and I scrolled down, and there was another article about someone talking in their sleep just below it. And I was like, ooh, I wonder what that guy is talking about in his sleep. And he's been recording himself. It's like, I want to know. And that clicked. Do you know that? Same kind of behavior? Just moving on. Next. Ooh, interesting. Oh, what's that? And suddenly you're in some weird corner of YouTube or something where you don't know how you got there. How comes? That's why people have ADHD. Attention deficit. Because our media and everything is encouraging it. That's the problem. Medication doesn't help there. What's helping is to reduce the use of what's causing it. Isn't it? If you want to reduce the risk of cancer, then don't eat carcinogenics. Don't eat food that actually causes and enhances cancer. Thereby, you're reducing the risk already. But by doing things that are actually causing the illness, if we abandon them, then the illness fades. The same thing for emotional patterns. If you're mindlessly consumed by your own emotions and your thoughts continuously, then they perpetuate themselves. It's that simple. So the only answer really, as always, and I say it in many different ways actually, is to cultivate mindfulness, presence, to wake up, to know yourself, and to abandon step by step everything that causes you to sleep in your mind, to sleep in your heart, to be a sleepwalker, a zombie in a way. You're living your life, but you don't know it. You're breathing, but you don't know it. You're eating, but you don't know it. You're walking, but you don't know it. You're getting angry, but you don't know it. The antidote to it is practice. Walking, I know that I'm walking. And actually practice that. Anger, I know that there is anger. That's the very simple first step. And if you get really good with this, you save yourself a lot of stress and trouble right there. So that's pretty much all that comes to mind for today. Thank you very much.